This is Tabletop Weekly, and we're the partners of Solarian Games. I'm Peter.
And I'm Jason.
This week's stories: Trail of Cthulhu, second edition on Backer Kit. Steve Jackson Games to bring back fighting fantasy. And I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's Arkvierver turns Mothership into a found footage horror game, which sounds really cool. Chris Perkins stepping down as D&D product lead, and Greyhawk is now open to third-party creators on DM's Guild.
All right.
Yeah. So the first one we got here is Trail of Cthulhu second edition, which, I didn't know there was all these different things because I know Call of Cthulhu is, not second edition. It's multiple editions. And so Trail of Cthulhu is a thing of its own. And I always love the Cthulhu games.
So hang on. Trail of Cthulhu is separate from Call of Cthulhu, the game. They're not.
I believe so, because Call of Cthulhu is Chaosium and Trail of Cthulhu is Pelgrane Press.
Okay. So, I mean,
I think it's its own flavor.
So that's because Cthulhu itself is open to anyone, but then people make their own trademarks and their own IP based on it. So
right, I believe
this is their own separate thing, and it's their second edition of Trail of Cthulhu.
Sure.
Okay.
Again, I'm not super educated on this, but I did like this.
Someone can tell us.
Yeah, I did like this story because of the stuff that's indicated in it. They said that it says that they have launched the second edition of Trail of Cthulhu set in the 1930s. I love that, playing in that period of time, where players investigate mysteries tied to the cosmic horrors of Cthulhu mythos. Again, another thing I love.
Yep.
It's built on the Gumshoe system, which I've heard really good things. I've never actually played it, but I've heard really good things about it, and I like the concept because it emphasizes like finding clues and piecing information. Like the engine itself is built around finding clues and solving mysteries. So when you find clues and stuff, it feeds into that engine. I've heard this. I've never actually played it, but I've heard about it.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so apparently the second edition incorporates a bunch of play testing, making the rules easier and fun to play. So obviously, like, as we all do as game creators, we like take the stuff we've done before and go, oh crap, we could have done it easier. Making things easier, more understandable, more, and all that.
Yeah.
But it is still compatible with the first edition. Of course, that's always
sounds
important.
A lot like what we're doing as we think about our new rules. Yep.
That's correct. It says it was designed by Keith Height and Gareth Ryder. Was that
Kenneth Height?
Sorry, Kenneth. Sorry, Kenneth Height and Gareth Ryder Hanrahan.
These sound like very British names. These have to be British people.
No.
Gareth and Kenneth. Gareth and Kenneth.
Right. So it includes updated mechanics for character creation, magic, and insanity, along with new gods, monsters, and campaign frames, along with enhanced guidance for game masters. Always good stuff to add to your game system. There's currently a quick start guide up that you can download, and it is on Backer Kit right this minute. Now, this Tabletop Weekly is not going to turn into Kickstarter or Backer Kit, launch weekly type of show. Normally we don't hit those as much, but I did want to mention this one because, we do a lot of covering D20 and, and D&D and that kind of stuff. And I want to make sure we hit some other, make sure we give some other games a lot of love.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And again, I love horror themed stuff and I love Cthulhu type stuff. So I wanted to bring this one out, and
I want to give it a look for sure. And I definitely want to see how they did their quick start guide. Because that's something Brian, when he came on the show the other week, was so nice about our quick start guide. So, but I don't want to walk around with a big head and think we've figured out everything there is to know. So I will always want to steal good ideas. So let's see how they did theirs too.
Like as a quick start guide, is it 11 by 17 folded in half, or is it 6 pages, or is it 10 pages, or what does that mean exactly?
I mean, sometimes you get a quick start guide and it's like a 28-page book or something. You're like, dude, this is really quick.
Yeah. How quick is this?
How quick is this? I mean, to me, a quick start guide is something I can read while I'm sitting at the table at a convention waiting for the GM to start.
Yeah.
But, not every definition is the same. So we'll see what theirs is like, but I'm very excited to check it out.
Yeah, looks really cool. All right, you want to do story 2? Are you familiar with this fighting
I'll
fantasy?
pretend to be.
Okay.
So I can read. Steve Jackson Games will be bringing back Fighting Fantasy. So this I do know. I know about the Fighting Fantasy Adventure series. I have a few of them that I've never played, but they're in my collection because I'm one of those terrible collectors who has way more than they can ever play.
Right.
So now this will make me go back and look at the original ones. It says these are basically choose your own adventure gaming books. So that's something that was done a lot back in the day. Because choose your own adventure, I'm pretty certain pioneered the genre.
It did. Yeah. I did some deep dive on that. I watched this whole like kind of YouTube like documentary on it. And yeah, they were the first. And it was and then what I think TSR was kind of the next one to do something. I forget what the employee's
and that
name
was with the stuff that Rose Estes started.
Yes, that's it. Yes, you're right, right.
Yeah, all of her Endless Quest books.
Right, exactly. So
yeah,
it was cool
and
stuff.
I know a bunch of other I don't want to say copycats. I mean, you can do something that somebody else has come up with. It doesn't make you a copycat. But there's been a lot of things like choose your own adventure books since.
Yes.
But, I mean, they were before D&D for me. And I mean, those choose your own adventure books, when I was the right age, I don't know, what age were we when we started reading those kind of books?
God, I gotta say, it had to have been about 12-ish, right? Because 82?
Maybe a little younger. Because
maybe a little younger.
But I'm thinking I must have been around 8 or 9, something.
Oh, was it? Okay, was it that early?
Well, I don't know. I didn't.
It was when we were really young, right?
Yeah,
I loved them, dude. Oh my God!
I was reading things about my whatever, and but we would go to Iowa State University's campus bookstore and just see, because they would come out. A new one would come out every month or something like that, and they were numbered, so you would be excited to see what was coming out next in the series. It was such an exciting thing. And I think every game publisher around this time probably was trying to pick up some of that excitement. And so Fighting Fantasy.
When it comes to the original, like the original Choose Your Own Adventure, the official Choose Your Own Adventure Club book publisher.
Yeah.
I have a ton of those. I still have them. I kept all of them. I even have some Doctor Who ones, but they weren't done by them. They were done by somebody else. But I have several of the original Choose Your Own Adventure ones. And I loved them, dude. I loved them so much.
So good. They were so good. And the nostalgia is so strong when you see the covers, because they also were very good about making sure the covers always looked correct. They always fit the series. I think that's something like that that idea probably started with like the Hardy Boys or something, making a series of books like that.
Well, they do kind of look like that artwork, the original books.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I don't know if you ever played they tried to cash in on that nostalgia a few years ago with a Choose Your Own Adventure board game. Did you see it?
Doesn't sound like it would work, honestly.
I don't think it did. I mean, it was beautiful. I bought it. I was excited to get it. But basically what it was the GM reads the adventure to you and you just tell him what to do.
That's not okay.
It wasn't very good. But Fighting Fantasy, back to these, much better. Much better. These are actual solo books. So got off track there a little bit, but it says, in 1982, Sir Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson, different Steve Jackson. So this is not the Steve Jackson of Steve Jackson.
But this is funny because Steve Jackson, the other Steve Jackson's putting them out.
Oh, I'm so confused. So wait, this is going to be Illuminati Steve Jackson putting it out. Maybe they could just join forces and just be one Steve Jackson that can do twice as much.
Yeah, pretty much. That'd be cool.
It'd be like, you need Steve Jackson to come to your convention? We won't tell you which one, but you're going to get one. We have Steve Jacksons everywhere. But yeah, it says the first 5 books are due to be released in early 2025. So that's what, like 80 years from now?
Yeah, something like that. It's got to be. It can't be 2025 cannot be next year.
Oh my God. With 5 more coming in the year. So very exciting. And we look forward to the 21st century someday arriving so we can see these.
And they're talking about doing like all 50 of them.
Oh my gosh, that if they can do 5 in a year, that means it'll be the year 2035.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
We'll see.
that's
We'll see.
we'll see if the Earth is still here.
And honestly, I've never played it, or not played. Well, I guess it's play.
Played.
I never did any of these fighting fantasy books, so it'd be kind of neat. I might pick up one or two just to see, just for
Well, if I
nostalgia's sake.
remember right, the fighting fantasy books actually had some dice rolls and some
Yeah,
actual mechanics to it. It wasn't just choose your own adventure. So
that's cool. Very
see.
cool.
We'll see.
All right, our next story, and again, this is it's Arc TVR. I don't know if you're supposed to. Is it Archiver? I don't know.
ARKYVR,
Yeah,
all caps, as if it was
yes,
an acronym.
yeah. I'm not sure.
Maybe it
Anyway,
is.
they are turning Mothership into a found footage horror game. Now, I know I picked this one. I honestly picked this story because I know how much you love Mothership.
Yeah.
Like,
In fact,
I know
I
how
was
much you
just
love it.
thumbing through some new stuff in a game store this morning about it. So yeah.
Right. So that's why I picked this story in particular. Anyway, so it turns Mothership from a space horror game into a found footage horror game. So instead of so I was reading up on this. So apparently your characters are in the horror adventure. So it's the same as everyone else, except the difference is that you are filming the horror. So it
As the
builds.
player?
Yes, as your
So you have
characters.
multiple players with cameras?
Yeah, well, so what you have, okay, so let's go into this. So you have it builds this into the campaign frame. So the PCs are paid to be there. They're hired they're hired to film the goings on. And then there are 4 character classes. So there's I didn't list these in our notes, but there's like the cameraman, the producer, there, and each
I
one
was
of them
literally
has,
going to guess that. Okay.
yeah, and each
That's
one
cool.
has its own special abilities.
Uh-huh.
And the shot management is sort of like a secondary game mechanic, and you get a sheet of required shots. Required shots. I can't speak. And if you want to get paid, you have to make those shots. So like this horrible stuff is going on. It's dangerous. People are getting killed and stuff, and you're having to make these shots, like get this stuff captured and survive at the same time.
Wow.
So it sounds really cool. I thought it was pretty awesome.
I've never seen a mechanic like that before. I've never seen a game like that.
That
That sounds like one of those. It could be amazing or it could be a train wreck. But you know what? I bet if they actually got to the point of putting it out, that it was not a train wreck. So
right, it's
it sounds amazing.
Yeah,
sounds great.
It sounds cool. I want to play this. So if I see this, I'm telling you, if I see this at a convention, I'm playing. I'm signing up.
Do we know anything about who made this or where?
Well, it's I think this Arc YVR is the people.
Okay.
I think that is the company that is making this. There's
I would love it if they were just completely anonymous, like one of I forgot the band that I saw, Glass Beans or something like that, where they just come out with masks all the time. That would be that'd be awesome. I just have no idea. They're just an anonymous collective.
And this thing appears.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not.
No. All right. So this is one that you brought up. So what Chris Perkins.
So Chris Perkins, so this is a little bit of inside baseball over at Wizards. For those people that follow who the creators are and everything, Chris Perkins has been on D&D since the early, I think he was there before 4th edition. I think he was part of the team that did that. I know he's longtime D&D creator, and he has been the product lead for some time, and bringing 5th edition forward, and of course all the stuff that we're doing now with 5th edition. And he has announced that after the Dungeon Master's Guide, that'll be it for him as far as D&D product lead. He's not leaving, so he's not leaving Wizards of the Coast, but they haven't said what it is that he will be doing yet. So there's I don't know anything about what the background is in this. This could be a big promotion for him, or it could be some sort of, make things look nice while we shuffle people around. Who knows? No idea. But it just got me looking a little bit more into what's coming up with the Dungeon Master's Guide, since this will be his last project as the lead for one of these things.
Right.
And I was kind of surprised to see that the Dungeon Master's Guide that he has created has had, he calls them 4 consultants, and I think they're actually writers on it. And 2 of the names I can't remember right now. They were people that were less well known, but very well known if you follow a lot of actual play and things like
Right.
that. But it's had sort of its celebrity writers. So Matt Mercer from Critical Role,
Sure,
and Deborah Ann Wall, who is really known as, in the D&D circles as being a professional DM and as a actual
right.
play DM, but is also very famous for her more Hollywood acting on things like True Blood and Daredevil. So they've been actually part of the writing team for the Dungeon Master's Guide. It
Dude,
sounds
I
like, yeah.
I gotta tell you, I was super surprised to find out. I mean, I've known this for a while, that Deborah Ann Wall was a D&D player, because I watched I was a fan of True Blood. I like the
Okay.
series.
I've never seen it.
And yeah, she was originally her sort of like claim to fame. She was Baby Vamp. So she was this
Baby
young baby vamp, right? That was her, I think that was her Instagram handle.
Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. I just realized I was mixing up True Blood with The Walking Dead in my head. I'm like, why are there vampires in The Walking Dead?
No. Okay, yeah. She was, True Blood was vampires. So
Okay.
she was her, I think her handle on Instagram or at some point was Baby Vamp, because she was in the series. She becomes a vampire at like 17 or 18 or something like that. And of course, that's the age she will be for the rest of her existence. But she was really great. I really loved her in the series. And I have to wonder, do you think she got introduced to D&D by Megan, what's his name? I can't say it right. Magnolia,
you know, we say in here.
Oh my God, he's a big D&D guy. He does the death.
Oh, Joe Manganiello.
Manganiello, that's it. Sorry.
Okay, I thought you said
I apologize. I was saying it totally wrong. Manganiello.
Who knows?
Yes.
I mean,
and because he was on the show too. He was a werewolf
sense
on the show.
Okay.
So they were on the show together. So I'm just wondering, and I'm not trying to take anything away from her.
Maybe she introduced him to it.
Maybe, but if he was old,
no, I have no idea.
The reason why I'm saying that is because he's older and she was very young at the time. So I'm wondering if he introduced her to like, it would just be interesting to find that story out. I just want to know what that story.
We could ask around.
That would be cool. That'd be cool. But no, she's been very active, and apparently she does a lot of work in the D&D world. So it was really cool seeing that. I've always liked her. I thought she was really cool.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that these are the people working on the Dungeon Master's Guide. It makes sense if you think about it, that they're writing a lot of things about the Dungeon Master's Guide. Has always been more about how to be a DM than just about here are some rules you need as a DM.
Right.
And now the world we're in is, forget D&D for a second. Just forget the whole gaming world. The greater world is one where everybody's an influencer. Right?
Yes.
There was some survey. It was just a really distressing number of teenagers thought they were going to grow up to be something like a third thought they were going to grow up to have a career as an online influencer.
I read that. Yeah. Like, that's ridiculous.
And it's great to have YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all these things where we can go out and talk to each other and make some things for each other. But not everything you do has to be, I'm going to now be the LeBron James of YouTube. Whatever.
Yeah, no doubt.
But in this world where everything is now so focused around that, of course, D&D and everything else is going to be part of that too. And Critical Role and all the other things like that. So it makes sense that the people playing D&D, especially if they got started by watching something on there, are going to want to hear from people like Matt Mercer about how do you play in a world where you do more improv, where you're thinking about who might be watching you. It's a good idea.
A funny thing, I want to just talk on that for just a second, talking about like the influencers and such. For the most part, when it comes to like Solarian games, a lot of time you get identified as the face of Solarian games, right? Like a lot of times people will approach you more so. Yeah, you.
I thought you were talking to the listeners. I'm like, you.
No, you, Jason. You get approached. Like I've never really been approached, and what's funny? I love that. I'm okay with that. I personally like being in the back seat because I don't want to be famous. Like,
I would personally like to appeal to any cool, hot, young influencers out there who would rather be the face of Solarian Games to come and be
yes, yes, please. If we can find anyone
I can
else,
be the butt. How about I be the butt?
it's all fun. Yeah, I don't want to be popular. I really do not want to be popular at all.
But it's so a little more that I read about with Chris Perkins. It's fitting for him to have done this Dungeon Master's Guide, because I didn't actually know this, that he helped to popularize the very idea of actual play podcasts in the first place.
Oh, okay.
Way back in the mid 2000s, when 4th edition was launching, he worked with Jerry and Mike from Penny Arcade, the comic, and of course PAX and everything else. And again, anyway, never mind. He worked with them to create Acquisitions Inc., the podcast that basically, I would say it's fair to say that it created the actual play genre.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool. So he's kind of been part of that all along, and he's seen the future of it. So very forward thinking on Chris's part. So I hope whatever he's doing next is a big promotion and something better and cooler.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, I can't personally. I mean, and again, no shade on this at all. I know a lot of people like actual plays, and I am not saying anything negative about it at all. I don't like them. I can't watch them. That's me.
I would love to watch an edited one. That's the only thing, is that I don't like any sort of podcast or show where it's just sitting there waiting for something to happen. I mean, that's real life. I already have real life.
Yeah.
But I would like to see an edited one where I can watch the actual play at a speed that feels like the action is, the way you remember it.
Right.
Because, you play a game of D&D or any role-playing game, you play for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and it's interminable. But when you remember it as being about 30 minutes long.
Yeah, right. You remember the 30 minutes of fun stuff.
Show me that actual play.
Wait, Jason, if that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought the best actual play I've ever seen was the one that I forget names when I'm on the spot now, but the creator of Community. Anyway, he did a show that was an animated actual play. It was sort of a mixture. It was him and the other players sitting around the table. And this is I think this is before Critical Role. Dan Harmon, that's his name. And it was called Harmon Quest.
Yes.
And it was just him and the players sitting at the table, and they're all celebrities and such. And as they're playing, they went back afterwards, they edited it down, and they animated some of the scenes. So it kind of switches back and forth between seeing the actual people at the table and seeing these really good animations. It was so much fun. I loved it. And Linda's saying, in our chat here, Linda the Gamer Gal, and anybody who's listening should check out Linda the Gamer Gal's YouTube. She says there's one where they do the show with puppets.
That would be kind of fun.
I would like to find out what that is. I will watch that.
Yeah. Hey, Linda, if you know what that one is, list it on the thing.
Let us know.
We'll mention it.
All right. Well,
so anyway, so we don't know where he's going, but hopefully he's not leaving.
Yeah, no, they said he's not leaving. So like we say, hopefully it's a big promotion.
All right.
All right. Now to the last story of the day.
All right. So Greyhawk is now open to third-party creators on DM's Guild.
This is a big one. This is really cool. So the DM's Guild has guidelines, because what you're doing is you're essentially creating your own Dungeons and Dragons content that Wizards has allowed. And on our last story, Linda says it's the Joven. I can't. Joven.
It's Jovenshire.
Jovenshire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jovenhire.
Thank you. All right. So Greyhawk. So the DM's Guild, you can create your own content, put it up. You'll get a much bigger audience because it's got Wizards amplifying it. And then you have to put like the DM's Guild stuff on there, and there's restrictions. So it's kind of a trade-off, right? You're going to get an audience you would never get on your own, and you have to play according to their rules. And one of their rules is that you can use certain worlds. And so up until now, you've been able to use Forgotten Realms, Ravenloft, Eberron, Spelljammer, Planescape, Dragonlance, Radiant Citadel, and Strixhaven, things like that. But they've never allowed Greyhawk. And now they've added Greyhawk to the list of official settings. So anyone can now create Greyhawk adventures or campaign supplements set in the world of Orth.
Nice. Okay.
It's amazing. And I think this is great because we said before that, you know, it's been announced that Greyhawk will be the setting in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And so Wizards is embracing the Greyhawk history, tradition. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for here. But they've also said they're not going to be making more products. So we're not going to see, you know, big Greyhawk gazetteers and books of lore. And a lot of people that I've seen, especially in Greyhawk groups online, love that fact.
Okay.
You know, I think people kind of did not want to see Wizards come in and quote unquote screw it up. You know, Greyhawk has always been a world that people create their own things in. People have a lot of love for it. And I think if Wizards came in now and redid it according to whatever their current sensibilities are, you'd see a lot of unhappy people.
So I got a question for you. What makes Greyhawk? Like what is it that defines Greyhawk as its own thing?
You know, I wish we had AJ Davenport on, and we should get him on next week.
We should
do, or some week we should just do a Greyhawk show and talk about this because Greyhawk 4x4 is his YouTube channel. People should check that out.
Okay.
And so I'm going to try not to answer too much that he would call me out on, but I'll give you what the simple way I can explain it is I'm going to do a little history in order to explain it, which is that Greyhawk was the second fantasy setting ever created, second fantasy role-playing setting ever created. Right. If you count Blackmoor as the first, Greyhawk was the second. Sure. And it was the first one that was officially set in Dungeons and Dragons because Dungeons and Dragons didn't exist. Blackmoor was before Dungeons and Dragons. Right. So Greyhawk was just a castle. And then it started becoming a little bit more as Gary Gygax fleshed it out, and it became eventually a whole city of Greyhawk. And then as he continued to put things in, it became a whole world until it was finally published as a product. And I think what makes Greyhawk is that you're using the world that as it was originally designed in terms of the landmass and the basic political entities and structures and everything. I know Wizards has gone through a whole lot of things where they talk about different eras, and like 4th edition was after the Spell Plague and blah, 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 blah. And so I guess in a Star Wars kind of sense, there's probably an era that Greyhawk would be considered to be set in that would be earlier than what others are set in. But really, I think what makes it Greyhawk is that it's set on this world, which is Orth or Earth. It's Oerth. I mean, basically pronounce it. Gary Gygax named a lot of things very quickly. Let's just put it that way.
It seems that way, yeah.
A lot of things in Greyhawk are just stuff around Lake Geneva, Wisconsin that he just sort of turned into words, or, you know, I mean, names that got reversed, that kind of thing. So Earth is just Orth. Right. And you'll see a lot of history of D&D in there because you'll see like the Egg of Coot on the map, and you'll see Blackmoor is actually on the Greyhawk map. I think that's really what makes it Greyhawk, is that you have all of that history and lore kind of woven into it. And it's always had a lot of places that were not explained, that were not fleshed out that much, meaning that the players could do it themselves. And I think that's, you know, what's good about Greyhawk.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
I know I like it because it doesn't have as much lore as something like Forgotten Realms or Eberron. Sure. And I just would rather put my own things into it. Although there's plenty of novels and things like that that you can read. There is lore involved. So there's a lot there.
You know what we should do sometime? We should get like Keith Baker on and you know, get a couple people on to talk about the different worlds.
We should have a throwdown. We should.
Yeah. That would be awesome. Like what makes this, and that. That would be
Let's see. So we would want to have Ed Greenwood, I think Darlene could represent Greyhawk to a certain extent because she did the map. Or Rob, well, maybe I don't think Rob Kuntz would want to do that. And then Keith for Eberron,
right?
And did I say Ed Greenwood for Forgotten Realms?
I think so.
I don't know. I don't want to get things wrong, but I guess Tracy Hickman and would represent. No, you know what? I'm about to say things.
Could we do that? Could we even pull that off?
Maybe. I don't know.
That might be kind of cool. That would be cool. It's going to be longer than a 30-minute show, though, for sure.
I think that would be something we should do for like TotalCon. Get everybody on a video chat.
Oh,
it could be a panel.
That'd be so good.
Let's see if we can do that. I think we could possibly talk people into doing a video call and just broadcasting it in a room at TotalCon.
Oh, that would be so good.
And whoever wants to actually show up for TotalCon could be there in the room.
That would be so good. Okay.
And then the ultimate, only one person will walk out as the ultimate winner of the real and true D&D world.
Let's see what we can do. You never know.
We'll see.
All right. Sounds good.
All
right. So we're pretty much finished with our stories.
That's
it's a pretty short show. But
actually, this is the length we usually try to do, and we just go long when we have these interesting guests on all the time.
Pretty much. But we do have one more thing, and it's actually two more things. This is our one more thing segment that is actually two more things. All right. So first off, the first one more thing is the physical version of Operation Landfall is live on the sale, or is on sale on the site right now.
Yep.
So
and
if
Operation
you go to
Landfall is Scott Congable's adventure.
Yep. And he and I it was mostly Scott wrote it out. I helped him get it to where, it was a thing that went out. So he and I worked on that a little bit together, mostly him, a little bit me. But it's up on our website now. You could buy the PDF before, but now you can buy the physical copy. If you go on our website right now, you can actually buy the book and get a physical
at a nice price. I think it's $10.
$10.
Yep.
$10. And it's one of our Black Ops missions, so it's not really long. It's something you can run in a session, but you could also, it's very easy to expand. So it could be something you run, one night, but then it could lead into so much more. Like it's not just a one and done. You could expand it if you wanted to. But it also has a second part in the book where it talks about how to do an infiltration by sea. Yep. So any country, let's say there's a country that you normally wouldn't be able to get, like say Russia, right? You can't just go into Russia. There's all these things you have to do. But you could approach it by sea, and this gives you ways to like sneak in, by sea, and how you would do it with the rules of Top Secret. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Scott's really good at writing things that take advantage of the rules and the tradecraft and things like that. So it makes a good mission, like you say, to really learn about the infill tradecraft.
Yes.
So it's fun for that. And and then the other one that is out is also an adventure by Scott Congable, but this one is not published by Solarian. No. Scott is publishing some things himself on DriveThruRPG. And I'll talk about that in just a moment, but first we'll talk about the adventure. So it's called Bull Market. It's set in a island resort just off of the coast of Australia. Very exciting. And it will be on sale on RPG Now. RPG.
I think it's RPG Now, right? Whatever the PDF site is, because I used to be RPG Net or something, and there's now Drive-Thru, and there's
big nerdy. Now I've completely forgotten. I don't.
Me too.
Okay, what is Drive-Thru RPG?
Okay,
Drive-Thru RPG. Oh, you're messing with my head. Okay,
yeah.
It's on sale. It'll be on sale on DriveThruRPG.com this week. Could be as soon as tomorrow. Just depends how long it takes them to process.
Yeah, because Scott has submitted it. It's a matter of them. Yeah. It's on them at this point.
Yeah, it's on them. Scott got us right. He told us Drive-Thru RPG in the chat. So yeah, that'll be up there, and that gives me just an opportunity to talk about very briefly our licensing program that is available to anybody who wants to. So with Top Secret, it is built on the Lucky 13 system, which we also give away. The Lucky 13 system is free. You can build your own games using the engine, and there's a license included in there called the Everlasting License for Free, ELF. But you can also write adventures and accessories and anything you want to for Top Secret itself. The license is completely free. We're just happy that people want to make things for it. So thank you. And we will supply you with an official licensed Top Secret logo. The only things that you have to do is there's certain little wording you have to put in the credits, because we do have a trademark. You know, we own the trademark for Top Secret, and the rules of trademarks are if you don't protect it, you could lose it. So
we have to do it. We have
to do it this way. We have to make sure people write in there that, you know, Top Secret is owned by Solarian, blah blah blah. So you have to do that, and you can't do anything actually illegal. You know, so don't. I don't know what could you do illegal. I guess don't put lots of pictures of The Simpsons in it or something.
Right. Yeah. Or
but
anything like really like absurdly lewd, you know, like, I don't know, just be reasonable.
I don't know.
Reasonable.
We might refuse a license for something that we just think is just absolutely beyond the pale. But generally speaking, we don't check, you know, to see if the work is something we agree with or don't agree with or anything like that. It's about making the games for it. Now, in Scott's case, we think he's a great designer, and we're really excited to have him. And so I don't want to put shade there. I'm just saying that if anybody, because Scott's stuff is really good, you should definitely get it. But I'm just saying that if anybody wants to, just drop us a line. We do have a licensing logo available for free. All we need to do is take a look at it first to make sure there's not something insanely wrong with it. But other than that, it's yours, not ours. So please hit us up if you want to make something.
And the best part of hitting us up live is, like, for example, I told Scott, hey, when this goes live, let me know, because we will promote it. We will we will do everything we can to get all of anyone who observes us online, you know, we'll do our best to drive them your way. And just for, you know, just so you all know, like, for example, when Scott sells these products online, we don't get a penny of it, and we don't want a penny of it. Like, we're happy to promote him because he's doing work with us, and you know, and we don't care about making anything off of anything that he does that's on his, you know, completely on his own. So, and if you want to do the same, we'll give you the same.
Of course, when we publish Scott's stuff, we're laughing all the way to the bank. I just bought 2 Ferraris based on his last one.
Yeah, 2. Well,
how these sell.
You only bought 2 Ferraris?
Well, I mean, you know, they were the cheaper ones.
Right. Okay.
Matchbox.
Wait a minute. You have another
Matchbox Ferraris.
And just so you know, talking about Scott again, so he's so prolific that, like, for example, we have another one that we're working on that is close, like really super close, right?
Broad Holly is just about finished. It's mostly laid out. I just have to put a couple finishing touches on it. In fact, one of the things that was preventing me from getting to that was, I might as well mention that we are putting up on the website, on topsecretrpg.com, which is where you can go to get stuff. On topsecretrpg.com right now, there is a quick start you can download, but there's no quick start adventure. So I was just finishing that up. And at the moment, I have put it only in the Top Secret NWO Facebook group. So if you're in the Top Secret New World Order Facebook group, you can go and grab that for free, because I'm asking people to give some feedback on it before I put it up to everybody, because who knows what I got wrong. But once the folks in that Facebook group have given their feedback and we think it's good, then we'll put it up on the site for everybody. But that'll be free. So that's what I've been working on, was getting that done.
Yeah, and we like, just so you all know, we're constantly working on stuff. So there's other stuff we've been working on too. You know, I'm not going to mention it right now because, you know, there's this whole like thing about like you shouldn't mention things you haven't done, because there's this whole psychology behind it. But whatever, just so you all know, we're working on stuff all the time. It's just a matter of, you know, we have a certain quality that we want to meet, and, you know, we're not just going to throw stuff out.
Someday we will.
You know, we're not going to throw it out half-assed, right? We're going to,
anything we whole-assed. It'll be absolutely whole-assed.
Right. And in fact, that is why Scott is releasing stuff on his own, is because he has more time than we do. Scott has worked a very productive career. He's been a very productive person in his life. He's done a lot. And like, if you ever want to talk to him at a convention, I'm not going to throw his stuff out there. But if you ever see him at a convention, you talk to him, he has led a very interesting life.
It's
But
amazing that he's retired at only the age of 31. Can you believe that?
But he has officially retired from work, and now he is doing what he loves to do, which is awesome. That's the dream, right? And so, when we were talking about it, he's like, hey, I want to produce things through you guys. And we worked out this deal with him to make sure that, he could get his stuff out, and we weren't the ones holding him up. So when you see the stuff that's out, that Scott's putting out by himself, he has approached us, and he said he would rather we put it out because we put so much care into our products. But
so does he. I mean, I don't want to sound like he doesn't put care into his products. It's just we don't have the bandwidth to do as many as he does, so we try to get out as many as we can. But because he's so prolific, he also puts them out too, and that's really cool.
So we were like, hey, you know what? Let's both do it. We'll put out stuff that we can get out. You put out stuff you can get out, and then that helps you guys. It helps all of you all. So like the players, because that's what we really think about most of the time is you all, like how much you all enjoy the game.
Yep.
So that was our goal.
All right, and those are our one or two more things. So
that's it. Yeah, enough talking, right? Blah blah blah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. On that note, it's time to end.
All right. Talk to you all later.
Listening. Bye.